Hello, I am Steve Schaller from TriStar Data Systems. I am a Timeslips certified consultant and have been for about 20 years now. And I'm going to do a series of videos about Timeslips to help you get the most out of the product. Today, I'm going to do a video about updating rates in Timeslips. So we're here just a little bit into 2021, and some of you may decide you want to update your rates and charge your clients a little bit more in the new year. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So first, let's take a look at how the rates work in Timeslips. So I'm going to mostly use the menus at the top of the program. Some of you may also like to use the menus down the side and the different areas, different navigators. But because there are a lot of different flavors of navigator that different people will use to keep things consistent, and just because it's kind of the way I like to work, I'm going to use the menus at the top. But most of the same functions can be done in a number of different places. So the first thing we're going to do is go to the names menu and open both client information and timekeeper information, because both of those are places that the rates are mostly going to be driven from. So first, I'm going to look at Dee Brickley, who is the attorney who is doing a lot of the work on this particular case, and I'm mostly concerned about his work on this client ABC. So let's go to the rates page for the client, because that's the first place where the rates are being driven from. So we have a rate table here for the client where we can assign up to 20 rates, and we can see that they're all blank. And if we look over to the left at our timekeeper information, we have also 20 rate boxes that we can fill in. And the first 5 are currently filled in. And looking back at the client, we see that this line says, when no rules apply, default to source timekeeper level 5. So that means that we need to go look at the timekeeper for our rate, and specifically to level number 5. So that's here, and that is 275. So if we want to increase that rate, so let's say we're going to charge this client 300 for the new year. The easiest way to do that would be just to change this level 5 to 300. And that will kick off the rate update wizard and update any slips. So let's go take a look and see if we have some slips. So we've got our client ABC. We've got a handful of slips entered for Dee Brickley in 2021. And we can see here there's a rate of 275. So let's open this slip. And we can see, as our client rule suggested, the rate is timekeeper level 5 at 275. So let's try just changing this to 300, and that will, as I said, kick off this rate update wizard. So I'll save that, and it says, because you have updated rates for this timekeeper, you may also want to update rates for some slips. Do you want to run the update rate wizard to automate that process? So let's say yes. And it flagged that level 5 is the one that we updated. So that is checked, and we can look through here and confirm that none of the other levels are checked. So we'll click next. And now I don't want to change anything that was entered last year. So hopefully I have billed all the time from last year, and that will not get updated. But I'm going to go ahead and put a start date of January 1st, 2021. Could have also just typed that in, but I hit the calendar button and was able to put that date filter in. Now, I could also add a filter. Since we're looking at this one client, we could update it for all clients, but let's get specific here and do some client selection. So we go into the filters for updating rates, and along the left we have our client selection, and I'm just going to choose ABC and click OK, and then OK again. And so now it tells me that only ABC slips are going to be affected, just to make sure we don't update anything we don't want to. We may not have sent an update rate letter to our other clients, but we know that ABC has agreed to this new rate. Okay, so it tells us we're about to update rates on slips for the timekeeper D. Brickley, his level 5, for the client ABC. We'll click finish, and it says it updated 4 slips. So let's go back to our slip list. Click slips at the top, time and expense slips, and we can see that each of the time slips, so let's click on time. So there was 1, 2, 3, 4 time slips that are now showing a rate of 300, still at level 5. And that's the trick. So now let's say we want to keep that 275 at level 5 because some clients who we've worked with for a long time, we don't want to update their rates. So we want to keep some of our other clients at 275, but charge 300 as a new rate. So we're going to put this level 5 back to 275, and we are going to add the 300 as level 6. And we will save it. And so I'm going to run this update rate wizard this time to show you, essentially to set these slips back to 275 the way they were before, and then show you how this is going to, the other way that we're going to have to do this. So click next. I'll set this to January 1st again. And I'll set this to ABC again. And click OK, next, and finish. So those slips have been updated, and we can see that they're all back to 275 where we started. So now, so pretend that we never changed that rate in the first place. So this is sort of the second part of the video now. So we've added this 300 to rate level 6. So now we need to go to that client and tell it, when no rules apply, default to source timekeeper level 6, so that it knows to use rate level 6, which is $300. And so we'll save that, and again it's going to kick off this rate update wizard, and I could run this, but it's not going to do anything because all of the slips are still set to use rate level 5, and unfortunately the wizard will not change the rate level that slips are using. So I'm gonna have to say no to this. And now I'm going to have to update those slips a different way. So now I'm going to go back to my slip list, and I'll go to time. I'm going to open this first, not that one, this first unbilled slip from January 4th, 2021. And I can see that it's still set to timekeeper level 5 and 275. So I'm going to manually change that to 300. And I'm going to save it. And now I can export that rate to all the other slips that have been entered in 2021. Unfortunately, you do have to have exclusive access to the database. So if you are in a multi-user environment, Timeslips gives us a way to ask to set it in exclusive mode if you're currently the only one in, or if you're not, it's on the special menu at the top. So we're going to go to exclusive mode, and it'll allow me to put a message in here. And I am in a single user environment here, but if other people were currently in Timeslips in the same database, it would allow me to set a timer and count down to allow those people time to get out of Timeslips, and then set exclusive mode. So I'm going to click OK here, and now we can see at the bottom of the screen it says it's in exclusive mode. So now I can do things like make a backup, or change custom fields, change general settings, or do this, what we call a mass update of slips. It's exporting from one slip to other slips. So I've now set the rate to 300 on this slip. I'm going to hit this export button on the right side of the slip toolbar. It's the second button to the bottom. And if we hover over it, it will say export. And so basically I'm going to export those rate settings. So I'm going to check all the fields that relate to rate. Rate source, rate level, rate value, and rate type. And click next. It automatically puts in a filter for me to exclude slips that have been billed, because I don't want to change things that are already billed. And so now I'm going to choose, I only want to update slips first for that timekeeper. So I'm going to choose the timekeeper, D. Brickley. I only want to update slips for the client, ABC. So I'm going to do client selection and choose ABC. And I only want to update slips in 2021. So I'm going to choose a slip transaction date of January 1st, 2021. And I'm going to leave latest as my end date in case anything was entered beyond today. And so now I'm going to, this will update these three additional slips. So probably in the time that it took me to do that, I could have just manually updated these 3 slips. But if you're in a larger office where there's 10 timekeepers all entering time, and you're a month into the year and realize that you forgot to change the rates on January 1st, you may have 100 slips in there that need to be updated. And so this is the way to do it. So now we've got all our criteria, and you want to be really careful here, because if you don't filter this correctly, you could wind up updating things that you didn't mean to update. So I'll click next, and now click finish. And now it prompts me to make a backup, because as I said, if you don't filter that correctly, you could do some damage to your database, setting the wrong client to the wrong rate and not know what you've done. So it's a good idea to make a backup before you do any drastic update like that. I made a backup before we started here, and we don't need to waste that time, so I'm going to say no. And as soon as I clicked no, it says 5 slips have been updated. So now we can see that all of my time slips now have that $300 rate that we wanted. And we are ready to move forward. And if we create any new slips for D. Brickley and ABC, they are getting that new rate because we set that as the rule. And so that's how we update rates in Timeslips. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. I'm happy to help you with rates or anything else in Timeslips. Hopefully going to be posting a lot more of these videos to give you guys some tips. And my contact info will be in the video description, so feel free to reach out. You can find us on the web at timeslipssage.com or tristarDatasystems.com. I've been Steve Schaller, and thank you for watching.